It's an exciting day. You know why it's an exciting day? What we're coming into is setting positions to its operation surface as well as a setting. High positions to a line position to its low to its mediation line stream. It's all direct signal locations to its unifications. Now we're all levels of integration of its awareness. We left the awakening and unification line settings. Now we're going to higher line position location in your system, which is platitude line interference. Okay, we're no longer in the galactic school. We're now into the Earth Academy school. It's a higher level set location, high position travel line. So it's like going in from grade 9 to grade 12. Position of track line is your 12 DNA track positions. Now this operates the service locations when you go to higher levels. You start with the 12 and then you go into your 13. The 13 is the rotation cycle that comes into your higher self. You finally get into your earth line rotation interference. The only thing you have to do is bounce up the emotional system. As masculine and feminine line position rotated, all levels of routers and routers, position location of your sun and the moon, and projector location of lights and position of travel. Setting position of track line is understanding the quantum line position location to its energy, how to use it through its quantum of its alchemy, and how to use it through its purification of its light. Okay, you with me here? So the center position location to its line settings, you guys were brought in signal line position operation line interference into your avatar location system, a holographic sim line position to its operation surface in triangulation. The process of the communication system is in moderation. Now this comes in all calculation your space and time. Maintenance in all lines of high formation to its system, coming back into your academies. Now we're in the center line into the interdimensional realms of correlation, okay, which is fascinating. Okay, so we're no longer in the awakening. Okay, so the unifications of the heart line is changing program setting. Now this puts positions of your inhibitors lines of 6, 7, and 8 in one docile correlation setting and 1 decimal of lines of 1. Now that's a 1-line rotation surface triangulation high position location of its measure. That puts positions to your line calculation setting to more levels of its awareness. Okay, understanding what you're deciphering is what you're seeing now in position location settings. Start to understand more levels of you and where you came from in set locations. Okay, the higher you go through frequency, the higher you go through provision. Now that position location of your souls and your contract lines of your blueprints is now in position of transcripts. You need transcripts to go to your academy line position location system. Now this triangulates high positions, all levels of its volume line rotation center and all operations surface into Atlantis and Lemuria. Congratulations, we're there now. Okay. So everything that you've been going through, stifling line center, high position of track communication to its setting is now volume, a position to its activation stream. That's directing signals to your cerebral cortex, your placebo cortex lines, and set location in your lines of your vivid image and position location imagination. You're all coming back to who you are through memory. All right. This is a process that we all go through, set location system. But you have to come back to your academies to know exactly where you are in Atlantis and where you are in Lemuria. Okay. So the formation line streamlines the correlation direct signal to the team position location is now in their holographic SIMS, coming to higher levels of memory. He or she has to understand the rotation spin cycles. So in that line calculate setting, it's like a pop-up book. Poof, and all of a sudden comes out, it flies around, looks at you, trying to figure out where it is. It's in your reality now. Okay. So it's coming out. Okay, and now it's trying to understand everything around its system of what it is, right? Once it understands what it is, the memory, everything comes into chance. Then chance becomes into confirmation. Confirmation comes in all settings to your system. Then you get comfortable of what's going on in your set location line settings. You started with 1, I started with 3. Okay. So I had a ground lines and high center interference into my holographic sim location system. That's why I started off. I have a very powerful video and 3 years line track communication of past reference, where I talk about where I infuse location of atoms in 2-line central calculation setting come into octave 1 and octave 7. There's a communication line set locations where it's in track communication to its setting. So I was dealing with 2 higher self line systems, one in my body, one in space. Okay. So it was very hard in that formation locations. I want to give you understanding what it goes through transformation line streams. It's all direct signals once you understand the location to your Earth, your center positions, and your magnetic highway of information. Okay, that's what you're working with. The center operation of you is all lines of communication of portals and set position of operation. Okay. Now, directing lines of panels is all direct signal of how you use your position locations to your Earth, right? 12 signature line streams in positions to your chakras of 12 signature location setting and direct signal to its operation surface into the center position. Okay. Now that's tethered into a flux capacitor, okay, into a diamond core, okay, into a position locations, into line calculation setting to higher line set high position locations, all line rotations to your Merkaba, your tesseract, and your tetrahedron. Okay. Center position location operation line surface is the center position to your equal line calculation setting. That's where inline rotation comes E equals MC squared in track communications. This comes in your torical fields in high rotation center and position attraction. Then you high position locations all levels opens all position locations to your EMF, which is your energy magnetic fields and magnetic lines applications. Channel streamlines high calculations, you come into north, you come into east, you come into west, and you come into south. So once you guys get into weighting signals, because everybody's a modification to their holographic SIMS, you really have to understand the travel location settings. When it comes to the cosmic lines of locations, so this is what it looks like in travel calculations. You start with this circle, you start with this circle, you start with this circle. Okay? Send bits to the cosmic, okay, interdimensional, okay, divisions of dimensions, and you come into all levels and high set locations to your ethereal and set locations. Okay, so it's understanding the track communications at 3 line settings and 1 line rotation, and track communications of downshift line connections. What's below is what's above in the set position of operation. Coming in that triangulation line, set position of travels, center line rotation to equal line calculations, setting directions, center position to Earth, and set position of travel calculations of balance. Okay, so once you get into that lines, you get correlation settings, you get position of travel lines, and the cosmic universe location of masculinity. The cosmic universe line set to your system location to your holographic SIM is masculinity. Position locations to the interdimensional line center is the center operation of the agelics and set communications. All right, so you're always going through the center position location of its operation location perception. Then you come into the ethereal line rotation setting and high calculation, high position of travel lines, high line interference, and position location to its measure, and high calculation to its system. All right. So it's a lot more fun when we understand more levels of our travel. And it gets more real through perception settings. So when we're charging and when we're sleeping and when we're lying down in that lying position locations, you're in that communication of its dimensional setting of the cosmic into the interdimensional, into all levels and position location of track lines, okay, into the ethereal. You have to understand the 3 planes of communication: the atmosphere, hemisphere, stratosphere, bio, or anything through calculation, and high position hyperdrive line settings, high position operations, application, acceleration, and that high position location to its setting. Okay. So it's about understand that your eyes are always open. Now, the ethereal line rotation interference is changing the organic stream locations. It's directing signal to your system to your location setting. Coming in line rotation interference and travel calculation lines. So that's 12 lines of measure, 24 in signal, 48 in lines, and 72 in computer, and 144 in crystal grid. Equal lines calculation 1 circle, 72 to 1 computer frame in 1 box, 48 lines of 1 line high position locations, 24 ground lines in yin and yang, and 12 signature lines in 1 line rotation. Okay, it's very complicated stuff. But once you understand more levels of view, you understand the track communication line settings to your academies, to your transcripts, to understand all levels of view and how you guys get in your positions to your suits. You start recognizing you guys from all set locations, all line settings to your academies. It's amazing when you come to that set location system. Then you start to remember all levels of you, this person, that person, this person, that person. And everything starts coming together more and more and more. And then you start living the cycle, communication setting to the cosmic universal location system, to the interdimensional lines of realms and position location near ethereal. So this opens all track communication. Now this is calculated and modified. The ethereal is more based on the angelics, position of track lines, the archangels, pan-angel line interference, the pathogen stream location settings, the position of the golden gates, the golden rounds, the golden castle, and set position location center line calculation setting. So we are now into the interdimensional realm of the angelic locations of Asgard and 2 panels of operation. Okay. So we're in that position location of sector 1, unit 2. Okay. This is the calculation setting direct location system in track communications into your SIM. Now everybody's on a waiting signal location to a system, coming in line set location, line setting, indirect signal. 144 line rotation interference of travel calculations, holographic, SIM line position location to a CPU. CPU line rotation position of track lines, triangulation, and position location to its pi and set position of travel. Okay. All right, so let's get in position to the cerebros. Is everybody excited to go to the higher line position location to travel position line settings? All right, 2 panels line rotations, cloud line change. Now there's two inner line rotations in position of the cloud lines and membrane set position of two center line communication system. Holographic lines at dimensional door lines, two-dimensional lines, one's in grounds, one's in the absolute line stream locations. See the intelligence? See? So in center position location, center line is the zero line operation in the ground line. This is position to Earth. Earth line is rotation surface and travel. Now the direct line center comes in position location of pyramid. Now your pyramid sets the position location setting. See the body comes in formation, coming in intelligent line stream location setting and direct signal set locations. Okay, that's how it's set up. All right, so in that line interference, we change the waving line cycles, high position of travel lines, and position location near pyramid line. This rotates its surface location to its setting and travel. So in information, see the intelligent line center and high position locations? So the actual mountains are cloak and dagger. Everything in mountain line rotation interference is a pyramid. Now you know. The process of communication line interference is the calculation modification of UFOs. The UFOs come out of the pyramids, woo, out position locations of its mountain. Okay, so now you know what mountains are. Mountains are just cloak and dagger. They're protecting the pyramid in line rotation interference, the travel calculation line. You take the invisible shield off, the energy field, the magnetic line position location, electrical line wires, metrical charge, communication setting, direct signal locations, home position location, high interference, heat signature pattern, correlation setting, growth line interference, and position location, triangulation, high position location, and pyramid activity, stream location, position attraction. Okay? So in that position of travel lines, it comes in all formation to its settings. Now we got one line signal, inline operations center. Now we open up two track communication settings and position location to its H-line system. Travel calculation line, center line, position location to its operation. Program line centers of box and triangulations. And we go cross lines and triangulations and position location of box and position location of its operation. Okay. Now it signifies high center of center lines. Now the cerebral cortex line position location near SIMS and team line center high position location is going to higher levels of Stargate star portal lines, stream locations, nano settings. Nanotech lines, high center interference, and set position of travel lines. Take them out of the equation line interference of 12 set locations. Directing lines, back in the sun, back in rotation, back in surface, back in high interference of travel calculation in the absolute line stream set locations. Directing panels, lines. Triangulation surface and ground lines operation line position location to its high and interference of travel calculation. Done by equation. All right, it's all set up. All right, so if you look at the intelligent line stream, you can see the I-line stream locations, right? There's the I-line, there's the I-line position. Hello, how's it going? All right, so center position operation line center interference. We're going to wait on that signal, put positions, travel setting, position operation location setting, direct signal, position location, high system. Decimal line points. Now we got position of points line center of point lines 1, 1, 1, 1, 3 line calculation setting, direct signal, position of travels, calculations in box, line center location triangulations, pi in the center, pi in position location of past, pi position location of center, pi position location of future. Line connection of future line, adaptation line interference, and CPU line rotation interference, equal line connection system, hologram stream location, setting, position location operation. Done by equation. All right. Signify high position locations in an inversion line rotation centers, directing line set location to its centers, position to its operation surface. Triangulation line center locations of pi, puts position location to its settings. Coursing channels, triangulation lines, three weather line rotation center, direct signals, high position location modifications, all over the high setting, data ports, data streams, data high interference, high position locations, cobweb line rotations, center generation line stream location to its setting. All right, see the intelligence? There's the nose, there's the chin, there's the neck. All right, center direct signal set location. Okay, everything is modified, all through triangulation and modification. Everything is position of face recognition lines, of course, channel lines, settings, and all operation of one tether line position of one line calculation. 1, 1, 1, 1, equal lines of 1, 1, position locations of pi, correlations of box, correlation triangulations, masculinity, femininity line position of 2 track lines of 3, 3 lines of 4 in position of 7, 7 position of 8. Now, the 8th central line calculation, the line setting is now in position of 9, 7 position of 10, line condition of 11, and 12 set location of setting. Directing line set location system. Travel lines of Stargate's high position location of 2 line interference. Now 6 over lines of 9, 9 position location of 12, center position location line center interference. Cerebral cortex of team lines into the holographic stream locations into the masculinity or the femininity lines of their SIMS and set location setting, the team line operation, center line rotation, position location operation locations into graphical stream lines and high position to its measure, and 4 calculation lines and videograph line set location of setting. Down by equation. Well done. All right. Center units in line position to its center interference is really understand how to really understand how to get into reversion to set locations, to interlock line connection, high settings, box line rotations, circle line interference, star direction of time sequence or star gates, star portals, star lines, star links, and position of travels, directing lines and locations, high positions, travel line center interference, box line centers, circle line rotation, star system lines of angle, position of travel settings. Now, for triangulation, high interference and position locations is high interference of radiograph line stream. Direct line pendants on location system, measure the correlation setting of two lacing lines. Direct line signals, signal line high position, operation line center, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. Position of 1, 2, 3, 4. Position of track lines. Line calculation equal lines of 1. Now that's decimal over 1. Decimal over 1 lines, position location of 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 line center location of 8. And center communication setting, direct signal. Hologram system and line rotation in its SIMS and line position to its operation is CPU unit. Set position of track lines in through all position location to its activation stream and set locations. Done by equation. All right. How are we all doing so far in position location and protocol settings? All right. So everything's coming into a lot of modification, especially when you come to your transcripts, your hologram line stream location settings, and understand how to use your SIMS location navigations to your holodecks. Understanding the connections of your sectors, vectors, and quads, and set position to its operation surface, and set location of your systems. All right, calculation line settings, Tina, position location settings, all Nikki, all Prismore, line position, Gypsy location, Lori Bandy, any line calculation setting, Tina, position locations, high setting, position, Danielle, Diana, line rotations, interference, Belinda, positions of battle location setting, all of Heather, position location of travel lines, directing line rotation centers and position location to its operation surface, directing position location to its settings, Hemdahl, line interference and travel calculation, Andre communication setting, direct send to its operation surface. All right, so it's amazing how we just keep going, right? Because it's all versions of me in different perceptual locations, line centers in all universes, all dimensional lines, all galaxies, all set location system. Travel calculation line center location is bracket line settings, cerebral cortex is stream locations, directing lines of product line interference, revise line center location of 4 lines of 5 line rotations and send position to its operation setting, and track communications of walking surface and triangulation of high position of point systems. Now, point system line connection of dimensional doors 1, dimensional 2, dimensional 3, dimensional 4, and dimensional 5 lines of location of setting. Directing line center and high interference, position location, cloud line changes, set line connection high center, magnetic force line, position location high center, and travel calculation line system and travel. Directing line center, XT1000 comes in, line position, XT1000 comes in, line position, and XT1000 comes in, line position. What do they do through calculations? They can scan position location each dimensional door line, locks line center, line interference, high position location, locks line interference, travel calculation line, and lacing line communication, left over right, right over left, right over left, left over right, communication sort of setting. Directing signal to its modification. Done. All right. All right. So in that line rotation, we come into an inversion channel. The inversion line interference in position to, alternating line interference, compositions, the blue edit sequence in directing, split lines in 5 lines into 2 lines, world and your interconstant position of travel lines of terabytes. Directing lines of signal lines and modification line stream location is the revise line rotation, okay? So if you come into the revise in line rotation to its box, and a T reception lines of pi in direct signal. Okay, so that directs line center location, your CPU, position location line center interference, the operation line cycles, high position as travel lines, and set position location as travels and set location. Okay, now that directs line centers of the sun that opens all communication setting and direct signal to its operation. Okay, now that comes into the CPU. Now that blocks this line center into a rectangular surface and 4 set location line setting that directs lines of 4 line centers, 1, 2, 3 in position of 4, in line position of 5, add 2 lines of 7, 7 position equal lines of 1 lines, equal lines of 8, position of 9, 9 tracks as lines, energy wash, communication line settings, and direct signal to a location system of a solar center rotation surface and set location. Okay, done by equation. All right, it's very complicated what I'm doing. All right, so the holographic line sending of SIMS now, okay, so it's a hollow line string. Equal lines of string lines in position of equal line calculation of rainbow, directing line set location of your box, position of triangulation. So that's masculinity over pi in line set location of femininity. That puts position of travel line set location of line settings in your stargates of the sun and rotation surface as locations. Now, directing line centers is center line rotation surface. Is position location is how you use the communication to its atom and line set location of a setting. Directing lines and modifications, all levels have travel lines and 3 set location of travels. Directing line centers and position location of sonars, echo line rotation surface, and triangulation high position locations in a 12 line centers of 2 track locations. That my equation. Alter was sequence set, yeah. Okay. So it's getting very, very confusing, but a lot more fun. So it's kind of like more complicated and easier. You don't want to go easy complicated because it complicates everything. So you get complicated easy, and that's information locations when you come into your delta setting, inline interference, position of travel setting, and rotation surface, and triangulation high position to its operational location. 5 intelligence stream locations. See the intelligence, see the face? See the block line centers and high position and dimensional line rotations, versus calculation stream locations. Directing the lines of signal high position operation in your SIMS. Okay, so in line rotations, we change the coordination lines and these dimensional line realms. Now, position location comes in a cluster line channel that opens all the universe lines of interdimensional lock line stream locations. Center direct signals, set position to its operation surface. Let's change the line condition graph lines in a white circle. Position locations in 3 lines and 4 lines and 5 set position of operation. Okay? Now, in that line position locations, the 5 line sentence to your holographic line set location is masculinity, femininity, masculinity, femininity, and masculinity, femininity in line interference. So track communication line direct signals is location of setting. The operation line set locations comes into a flux capacitor and line rotation position location, a graph line stream location setting. Now, directing lines of position locations opens all track communication of center, opens all communications of balance, and opens all communication line setting interference, and the magnetic high information line, position location, measure line interference, a spectral communication setting, and all position location of colossals, and line rotation surface and set location. See that? 6 and 9. See? 6, 9. See? All through a spin. 6, 9. It's all set up. I told you, 6 line settings and 9 rotations. Coming into 12 set locations into brain activity line rotation. Done by equation. See? That's how you do things to set location line settings in opposition to its colossal. Understanding the wind cycles, the spin sectors, and high position of travel calculation setting directions. 6 and 9 is all set up into your SIMS. Okay, your tracker line centers and high position location is now in line interference into 9 line rotations. So Monday line interference into 12, and then center calculation line interference into 24. Once we get 24, then we get into the correlation of the line position location that puts position of scale lines in positions to your settings. So that equalizes the correlation setting directions into the interdimensional line interface of set locations. Full calculation, modification, all lines of dimensional planes. All right, so that centers its position of track locations into 69 positions. All right, so in that track communication line setting, that's going to travel up line rotation interference. So more memory lines are accountability now and set to your SIMS. Directing line centers high position locations into 1 line rotation surface. Okay, so counts on lines and streamlines and set locations of line center, the 0 line operation, and power direction of time sequence. Puts position of the sun in line set location setting of operation. Okay. Directing line position location to its operation line setting opens up all calculations to your Earth line surface and set position of travels. Okay. Now, directing line setting is all calculated modify how you set the circle locations to your pyramids and stream location to its setting. Okay. Directing line calculation setting and position location to your system of your diamond core and read line position to its program of its T reception line of a lacing line communication setting in direct lines of position location to its operational line position to its vortex stream locations and higher calculations of models of correlation. Okay, done by equation. All right, so the central communication lines of your SIMS now are in a holographic line set of its own GOD. Geometric operation, set location of GOD, line set of high interference, hollow. Position location of stream, set line position of box, and I set location of triangulation. So masculinity and femininity is now a box and set location of triangulation of set. Okay, it's all set up. So surface line position of box, out equation, and position location of center. 3 line signature patterns, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So that's heart, mind, and soul in 3 line settings. Okay, so in that lines you come box triangulation, box triangulation, box triangulation. Holographic line set location of memory lines. Okay, now that directs the signals to your SENS. Now the SIMS lines up into the box line rotation of the sun. The sun operates the sign line rotation, position of box of triangulation, reset position, center correlation lines at high position location, a half pipe, and travels line center line position of its equation. Okay, that's my equation. All right, so center position line center is ready to understand how to use the modification lines of G of D. The geometric line stream locations equal lines of calculation numeric above. Thus recenters its correlation setting to high position of travel lines and position operation. Directing lines calculations of 1, we add the plus line to a negative line into the position of positive line. So that's 1 indicate line position of 2, 2 track lines of 3. Now 3 indicates line position of 4, travels lines high center of 5, 5 line centers of 6, sets position of the throat line and position location of 7, allocates the lines of time of 8, the center lines of 8, 8 position of space, 8, 8 positions of time, center position location, line signal, panel line, operation service, correlation high interference, hologram stream location setting, in position location set line rotations, in line interference, and position location of 6 in 9 line setting in track communications. There's the 6 and the 9 at the bottom line rotation. Okay, that's my equation. How's everybody doing so far? All right. So many downloads coming in. Yeah. Well, it has to, because your holographic sim has to really understand he or she through travel setting. Okay. Okay. So in modifications, that's all through navigation line settings. Now we set the consoles. Console communication lines, the hieroglyphic line rotations, center position location settings, lines of 6, and position location of 9. Okay. 9 line centers of 6 and position location of 9. See, set position of travels. 6 positions, 9 position location. Right? 6 position and position location 9 position. Okay. 3 center line calculation in your holographic SIMS recognize the correlation setting of vibrational graph lines. Directing lines of normal and position intermediate and position of advanced. Setting track communication line directions in your dimensional line SIMS. Okay. Center lines at high calculation lines at ground lines. Circuit line position location 6. Course lines of channel, position of travels, line directions, and 6 positions to program set location of setting. Okay, that's my equation. All right, so the center position line is serial set up now. Okay, so you 9 central line calculation line settings, 6 position location to the left and 9 position location to the right. As of tomorrow, we're going to balance the correlation setting at 12, line in position of 12, equal line setting, position of travel lines, XT1000 line position location of 12 settings, and position location to its 24 ground lines, in operation to 24 activation lines, and 24 location system into your holographic line calculation of balance position location and interdimensional lines location to your academies. Okay, so inline interference in all travel position to its setting opens all signified position of travel calculation, right? Of course, it doesn't make any sense to you, okay? Roland, because you're not understanding you. See, you have to understand the grounds, you have to understand the powers, you have to understand the atmospheres. 3 basic line set location system. You have to understand you from inside. Try to communicate to your body. Everybody has to communicate through the body, through vibration. That's the only way you're going to get anything in master communication of yourself. Understand how to use telepathy, understand how to use telekinesis, right? So every time you say, I don't get it, you're not getting yourself inside. Your body is reacting. Your body's just a reaction. That's all it is. It's a body, not the body. The position of track communication line setting puts you in all communications how you see yourself from inside locations. You change the interaction, you change your intention, you change everything through formation. You understand? That's how it works. Okay? So everything that you say affects your body, a reaction, and affects everything outside, because you are all levels of moderation. Okay? You have to learn how to use it through its energy, because it's all inside you. So you control the energy, which reflects everything outside that you say through intention. Okay? So you have to understand you're a power generator. All lights of all combined position location in your system. How to use the energetic waves, how to generate an electrical system, how to understand the body passion, how to understand position of track communications, how to understand the CPU line rotation, inline rotation, position of track communication of the system. Okay? You have to understand you from inside. That's all this is. You have a body. You have to learn how to use a body of your line setting to understand the electrical system inside location of you. Okay? How to use it. That's all it is. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. All right, so private communication line settings. So in that line interference, in track location system, and travel line interference, line positional levels, you guys are now at 5,000 line signatures in position location of 50. Okay, 5,050, right? So 50-50 track lines and dimension line rotations, interdimensional lines of triangulation, interdimensional locations cross lines, center line rotation interference into a new Merkaba, into a new tesseract, new tetrahedron line position torical field, and line rotation center, and track communication setting, and position location of grounds, line condition of earth, and height rotation surface, and triangulation reset location programs, and line position location of portal lines and travel line center and interference of 45 measures and correlation setting direct signal. Okay? It's all set up. All right. And that's going to fly out. Mechanism line setting. So we're now into the intergalactic interface. Now, the intergalactic interface, we understand the sun communication of the moon and position locations to the sun and positions to its operation surface. Sun lines its rotation surface and triangulation high center interference, and the moon sets position of course lines, set position of travel lines and triangulation. Directing lines of panels and position location to its operation surface, back and line set location of 3 set locations of setting. Now, this directs line set calculation high interference, center lines of interdimensional line rotation surface and triangulation resets and position of programs. Okay, directing line settings, equal line calculations, separate units, positions of balance, position line calculations to your system to your pyramid of rotation. Now, directing lines of panels, another equal line calculation separation, centers lines of communication of Merkaba, tesseract line, center high interference, and traffic calculation line, direct signal, and set location. Okay? Now, in that line interference, we change the center line of the center line rotation surface that change all communication to its cluster lines of its operation locations. All right, in that direct signal, we come into crisscross line settings in the solar graph line setter string locations into an eye circle line setting, your eye receptor location setting into a galaxy reshift program and line position to its intelligence of its face recognition line calculation setting of its memory line calculations, holograph and line position locations in its system. Done by equation. Now it's really all set up. All right, so that's going to travel setting out, but still there. How's everybody doing so far? This is fun, eh? So you're really getting direct signals now, direct panels, operation line setting, all calculated, modify. When you start seeing these things, you start seeing location system, all travel communication line settings, indirect signal, all levels of crisscross location system and travel kit calculation, right? Crisscross line conditions, always crisscross, okay? Center position to its operation, and then you send the line position location as center lines and set location. Okay, communicates back with you. In position comes out, scan position location scans you, and line center to signature position. Open line position location, levitation ground lines, high center interference and travel calculation. Okay, so we all have to understand how to use ourselves from inside. Inside is everything. You start with the inside line connections. So it's the inner layer to the outer layer, inner space to the outer space, inner limits, outer limits. That's all it is. You just have to understand how it works inside you through its how of the operation sets position to your settings. So when you get a fortitude string location line set in position to its waveline center interference and travel calculation line direct signal to its monitor, or travel calculation of delta line wave and line rotation surface, or direct line connections mega line interference of travel calculation line crosses signal in position of travel settings, or you get a mega line set and a high interference of ground line interference of low frequency position of travel calculation. Now, directing line centers of panels is really understand how to get in position location of 0 lines, in position of 1, in position of 2, in position of 3. 3 central lines at I calculation 9 and equal lines of pi. Pi recognition line calculations of 4, 4 lines of 3, 3 lines of 6, and 6 position of 7, and line condition of 8 through operation surface. Okay? Very complicated stuff. So understanding track communication is understanding how to use the ground lines of your SIMS now, because it has to understand the ripples, has to understand the waves, has to understand the electronic system, has to understand the correlation of spins, has to understand the Fibonacci, right? Has to understand the squares, has to understand the triangulation line settings, okay? So it's all about understanding, yeah, exactly, right. Going so fast, all colors, and 1, 2, 3 equals 1. Very good. I like how you do that modification line set interference. So that's exactly through pi, okay? So your direct signals of your SIM is trying to understand the geographical map of its setting and how it's in position to its own interdimensional location, all right? All right, so we're going to wait on that line rotation interference, and that's positioned to its track communication setting through pi. And basically, so you get a coloration line stream. Color equals line calculation setting. 1, 2, 3 equals 1. Okay, how does 1, 2, 3 equal 1? Track communication lines, diameter line interference, diameter switch positions into all levels of defrag. Okay, center lines in the opposite line rotation of the sun and the moon in position of track communications indicates line calculation settings equals 1 through traction. Okay, so you're taking 3 lines. 3 takes away line communications of 1, right? Is 1, right? So you go forward and backwards to set location line setting. In position location of pi, redirect signal locations equals 1 in position. It's operation, Belinda. There you go, my dear. But you have to understand the travel calculation. So the position line setting is really understand how to go direct and redirect location of your travel sets. Okay? But remember, it's calculated and modified. So there's no math in any line rotation, it's maths. So it's 3 indicator lines of map in position location in line rotation, negative in positions of pi, and calculations into negative or line position of cross line stream, direct lines of an xt,000 line stream locations. xt,000 line indicates high position location as high setting in position of measure. Okay? So that's what it is. That's how 1 plus 1, 2, 3 equals 1. Okay? Because you have to go back. All right. So I'm just showing you how powerful it is. You do it through travel set locations. You go back. You go back with travel, but you're directing and redirecting. So you're not going back. You're going forward. So you're just going to a different direction. Okay. So if you're in a center calculation line setting and you're in the center line position, you're seating your positions where you are in position locations, right? You're going so fast, right? And when you're going so fast, what's happening in position? Direct, redirect, direct, redirect, direct, redirect, direct, redirect, right? So it doesn't matter where you go, you're always going forward, right? So that's an indication to your center position of your time, okay? And so seeing yourself on the chalkboard teaching pi and math since I have the maths. Yeah, exactly. Getting that position of traction, okay? But that's how 1 and 2 and 3 equals 1, right? So you're going back. So you're going a different route. So you direct and redirect. So there is no going back, okay? So going back is a back reference that changes line setting. So that changes the cycle line calculation setting. So instead of the position location to a system going forward, the cycle line calculation setting of the circle line goes back and set location to a system in travel calculations. So it reverts its set location to its system. Okay? So you have to understand it goes this way. All right? So the really understanding point here is the avatar really has to understand the rooters and routers of the atom because it circles lines this way and circle lines the other way in line rotation to ascending. Okay? So in that line interference, you got a correlation setting position of track lines in communication to all line position locations, operates line set locations to a bike. Tron bike. So it's all about understanding how to use this, how to understand the time, how to understand the equation, how to understand the formula, how to understand the communication to the letters, numbers, shapes, and symbol that's given to you through your sim. All right. So if you go through 1, 2, 3, equal line conditions of all levels, 1, 2, 3 equals 1 million. Okay. So that equal line calculation setting is above and is below. So it's the higher self dealing with the avatar. So you got to balance out the frequency of the higher self in position to its location. That's the indication to its pi and setting. Okay. That correlates high position locations, equal line calculations. There you go. Equal lines half equals moon in set position. Okay. So you really have to understand how all this works through travel settings. You guys are now into the interdimensional line of your academies. So you're going to understand more levels of its equation through its formula, how to understand the half pipe into an equal line calculation to half line setting, and 1 plus 1 or 1, 2, 3 equals 1 million in line rotation. That's a half pipe cycle and line calculation setting of 1 million line cycles and high travel calculation streamline indirect signal at set location. Okay. So it's really, really powerful stuff when you understand moral lines that is your interdimensional travels, the intergalactic location system. So we're now out of the galactic energy core. We're now into the interdimensional space, which is the center calculation of the angelics. Okay, so when we're in that line setting, yeah, everything is going forward, Trinity. Nothing's going back. You're just directing and redirecting. So it's kind of like you're going forward, and all of a sudden you're here, right? So you got a four-way stop. Okay. So you're saying you're going to go this way, you're going to go this way, you're going to go straight, or you're going to go back. It doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter. But what you have to understand is you're creating something beautiful going forward into that position of travel. Okay. So you're never going back. The only time you go back is if you change your thoughts of recognition. Soon as you change your thoughts, you change the directions to all levels of space anomaly. It retracts all communication to a setting. Okay, pay attention to that. So you get a four-way stop position locations when you're driving a car, right? In position. Four-way stop, right? 4 stop signs right here. Okay? 4 stop signs right there, right? So you got a car here, you got a car here, you got a car here, and you got a car here. Okay? So in that line interference, know exactly how to go through location system. So calculation modification, you have your green, position location, you have your red, and you have your yellow. Okay? So, and then position, you know, traffic light communication setting directions, right? It's no different. The only difference is that you're doing it in space through the mind, through a holographic line setting. So it changes everything in position of your seconds, minutes, and hours. You're only going a certain kilometer in your car because you're not working in that set location setting of seconds, minutes, and hours in your car. Your car has to recognize that your RPMs when you come into that set location system, when you come in position location to a system. Okay. So the indication line interference. Okay. So green means go, right? So indicate high position locations, send lines. This is location setting. This is going this way. This is going this way. And this is going this way, right? They're all going in the same direction. You see how that works? All 4 position location of cars are going in the same direction. You see how that works? See, it's extremely powerful, understanding how to stay in your lane line setting, but it's a 4-way stop, isn't it? Right? In a 4-way lane in line position to its frame position to its triangulation into holographic line position location of travel line settings and all calculation. But it comes in modification line streams, direct line centers of 2 panels, indirect signal position location of 4. Comes in correlation line direct signal and position locations to its location grid in set position of operation. See the intelligence? See the eyes? There's the eyes right there. Boom. So you're always in frame in everything that you do through travel. But I'm just showing you a 4-way stop, how all cars go in the same direction. So they don't bump into each other. Okay? You have to find the modification of your travels, how to direct and redirect your signals of alpha position locations, delta, theta, beta, omega. It's all in position to its calculation to its system. It's all calculated and modified how to understand anything through set position of operation. But once you get in that position locations, you come in your location grid. Okay, setting track communications, and you travel out of the equation location. Okay. Now you got to get in that line settings of thinking through a hologram, all through a 4-way stop. But it's amazing how all 4 cores go in the same direction, right? Because they understand the energy, they understand the vibration, they understand the frequency, they understand the harmonics. So it's the connections on both sides, guys. Both sides, not one-sided, not two-sided, not three-sided, both sides. So there's both sides of everything. That's a 1 + 1 = 3. Okay? Masculinity, femininity. Okay? Connection line, center line is the earth. And position balance lines, equal line calculation, the angelics, line position location, eye center interference, indirect signals and location system of your space. Okay? So you have to understand the power lines, direct lines, the line rotation surface into the atmosphere location system of location. Okay. Resolution, evolution, full surrender. Yeah. But I'm just showing you how everything goes in the same direct signals. That's 4 cars going in the same direction at a 4-way stop. You explain to me how that can happen. Space is set up differently through traffic. Now, understanding that locations, you understand the traffic view or your line of positions to your inventories, to your data locations, to your electrical infusion boxes, and all position travel settings. This is a 4-way stop in space. This is what it looks like in set location. Okay. Now, once you understand that, you connect line centers, your avatar is flying above and it's seen below, right? So it's seeing a data stream location line center interference. It's seeing travel calculations going this way, traveling that way, but everything is going forward in set location. Okay. Everything is going forward. Nothing goes back. So nothing in position of space collides anything in set location of travel setting. Okay. Because it creates a cluster line position of travel lines of traffic in position to its operation surface. That position location XT1000 comes in, right? Scans position. What's going on here? Scans the setting, right? So it automatically takes it out of the equation, sets back in center line rotation interference, brings the position locations back into the moon. Done through equation, right? So it resurfaces and puts it back. So everything's protected. So whatever you do, it fixes itself. And that set location, that is what your sim is coming into set location setting. But really understand how to change position location of directions in line communications to your system. Okay. 4-way stop directions traffic above and below. Yes, exactly, Belinda. So in that line position locations, you're always going in the same direction, same directions, same directions, same directions, same directions. Okay. You're never going in this direction. Okay. Because the thing is, if you're going back in time in position location of portal communication. Right? So it's important to understand that everything you're directing and redirecting, you're going forward. So the 4-way stop is all 4 cars going in the same direction. Okay. Space is set up differently. So in position locations, in line position locations, there's no stoplights. Okay. I'm just showing you the difference. Stop at a red light, you can turn. It indicates location of the arrow, that's green, right? But I just want to understand how the traffic is set up in space. And that's what you guys are coming into. So this is how I travel. You travel position location setting interference. So that position location comes in this location grid and travel setting location to its settings. All right. This is your compound line position to your setting and location system and travel calculation. Now in that direct signal line interference, it directs the signal locations to your avatar that signifies high position location of travel settings in all levels of operation. Travels through right position, right? Inline interference comes out position to another portal and travels out in position locations. That's direct and redirect in set location of travel settings. Okay? But you have to understand how to go through location grid, right? Very important to understand that because it's all connected high positions to your portals of communication. Looks like an airplane, right? Look, it's an airplane. Look at that. Look at what you can create, the location system at all line setting. See? So it's important to understand what direct and redirect is because you have to understand more levels of view because you're going faster and faster and faster in the mind. The more you go faster, you have to understand your data streams. Okay. So it's an electrical circuit box that basically balances everything in your line rotation interference, a telepower, telecommunication, telegraph, anything location setting direction system to your system. In that track communication line interference, you have to understand the center position through its operation, the center line rotation center, and position of the ground of its operation surface, and the magnetic highway information line setting into your electrical box line rotations, interdimensional line position locations in its highway and high rotation surface, and all calculation line position. Okay, and then you come into platitodes. You got the ground lines, and you come into platitodes, right? Plateau here, plateau here, plateau here, plateau here. But you have to understand the 24, 48, 72, and 144. So it's kind of like a city that you see, but it's above the line setting. which is the interdimensional line. We have interdimensional line, intergalactic line. We have all calculations setting. We have dimensional planes, interdimensional planes, galactic planes. We got all calculations high interference. We got etheric planes. But you have to understand how to travel through the portal communication line settings of direct and redirect. Okay, so once you understand that through provision locations, you understand where you're going in geographical location. Everything is location. You follow the journey, takes you to the destination. Now it gets more real now. Remember I said just focus on the journey? Now, because you're going to higher level, you have to focus on the locations because you're going faster in the mind setting. Okay? But that's what it looks like in position locations. Right? So that's like you're above the system and you're seeing everything below. It's a data stream. It's neon. It's like Tron. So that's position locations where we have the all levels of unified ascensions, position of track lines, high calculation lines like cubicle stream locations. There's position of track lines, the etheric. There's so many dimensional planes. It's unreal, the data streams that they have locations. This is where it comes into modifications, moderation, to channel stream locations into your traffic settings. Now, traffic setting sets position location to its operation surface that has a correlation alignment of a tither in position to Earth that travels lines of your powers, which is the angelics. So there's 3 tillers of communication of traffic lines: grounds, powers, and the atmosphere. Now it's all 3 in position of travel calculations, right? So you have to understand the grounds of the Earth, the higher self, power records of time, high center positions to your setting into hydraulic communication setting, and then you got to understand the atmosphere location in your system through traffic locations. Okay, so there's 3 traffic lines of communication that you have to understand: direct and redirect. But you're always going forward. The only time you go back is if you change your thought communication of intention. So in that position locations, it looks like this. So when you send 24 of clocking, 48 of windows, 72 computer frames, and 144, what you're creating is the 144 of a crystal grid. The avatar has to go through the grids because there's a point centers of locations. So it's like one dot to another dot. It takes me 15 minutes through pi to get to my job. That's a location. Space is totally different than down here in position operation. Okay, so there's always a set location setting to and from. Okay, and that's where you guys are going now because you're reaching higher levels of the mind through adaptation location. Okay, it's more fun when you really understand more lines of view through traffic. All right. How does everybody feel about that in position of travel lines? So the reason I'm showing you this is because he or she has to understand the sim, how to actually stand the traffic and where it's going, right? You got a direct signal, right? It's in your dimensional space, and here comes your sim, right? So it's trying to figure out what's going on, where does it go? That's the thing. I got a geographical map. It's so big, and I have no idea where to go. Right? So the thing is, it's already in the memory of where to go. It's going forward. But it's how to go forward. It's knowing the direct signal location system to the cosmic universal line, the interdimensional line, and the etheric. Those are 3 traffics of dimensional line position location of planes that you have to understand to go through. Okay? That's the only way you can understand anything in that set location of travel settings. You don't want to get confused anomaly when you're going through a geographical map into somebody else's house. So you go to cubicle line square and position locations. There's your home, right? Okay, so cubicle line rotation interference into a dome set position operation. Okay, so you're traveling, right? Okay, and all of a sudden you end up here in position location, another dimensional line instead of location to a system, but you're supposed to be over here in set position to its operation. Okay, so it's all about understanding how to understand your travel communications from one to another. Okay, so if you get caught in that line interference, you set up a triangulation line setting in 3 set positions. All right, so in that position to its operation comes in position of balance. The rotation spin cycles. You bring in the sun so you can understand light. So it's kind of like with the car needs lights, right? Especially when you're on an open road, right? When you're on an open road, you use your lights, right? So that's what it is. So it's kind of like the connection to your avatar lights up the screen, which basically lights up the data stream. And when it lights up the data stream, you can see more through position location to fruition and position your data lines, streamlines, or anything in position to your areas, planes, and communication to its setting, the directions. Okay? It gets more complicated, but it's a lot more fun, right? So you get more balance. So when you get in that line position location, let's say you get in recharge line strings for 6 hours, 6 hours of travel, okay? So you're in a car for 6 hours. So you're getting to that destination, and that's all it is. You're getting to that destination. But see, that this is the kicker. The set of position location of its operation is all timelines all at once. So past, present, future is always in the now. So you're constantly in the now. You're not in the past, you're not in the present, you're not in the future of in position of travel. You're always in the now. Okay. So if you get in that position locations, you go from here to its location with no problem. Okay. You don't go into diversion, you don't go into acceleration, you don't go into this line setting, you don't go back in that line rotation or this position of travel. Okay. So it's all correlating high interference and position locations to pi. There's the pi right there. Okay. And if you look really, really close, when you look in the position location, everything's connected to its hologram stream and all direct signals and all set position to its operation surface in high position of travel and all position location setting and all calculation. Okay. So it's a lot more fun when you understand the traffic of you. You know how to drive a car. You know how to get from one place to another. There you go. Pretty good, right? That's how it sets up all level settings to your system to its location. Okay. So does understanding that now, it's a little bit more through traffic communication. How to understand the direct signal to the cosmic planes, the interdimensional planes, and the etheric planes. The higher you go, the more you understand the portal communications. But you have to understand the 24, 48, 72, 144 through your he or she sim needs to understand the travel through traffic. So that's what it is. Okay. So you're constantly in the now. Okay. When you're traveling, if you go this way and you go this way, that's not the past. That's just going back. Right. So in that line position locations, in high position location line centers, it's all about understanding how to get back on track. Okay. So traveling is so different. You can't even imagine of what it is when you're in actually the real space into its plane. So that's what you guys are coming into now. You're in the surface grounds of the interdimensional planes now, realms. So you really have to understand how to travel from this position to this position to this position locations. Okay. So once you understand that, then you understand the settings. And then you can create it. See, that's what the sim is doing. It's creating some dimensional lines of space of a geographical map, so it's easier in high position location to a setting. Okay, so it's really interesting when you come into your timestamps. Okay, timestamp is basically editing, getting there faster, cutting corners. Right. So there's a timestamp line setting. You know what timestamp location is, right? Position. That's your timestamp. Okay. Water containment line position. Okay. So and then you flip it. Right. You flip it. Okay. You flip it. So when you flip it, what do you do in line of rotation interference? You have more time, right? So a timestamp really is a film strip. It's a direct signal location sitting. So you're cutting corners. So what you're doing is you're editing your time. So the process correlation setting is slowing down your space, okay, in sequence of time. Okay. So once you do that, position locations, things get a lot more easier for you. And the sim has to really, really understand what she or he sees from travel, how to use it through your geographical map. If you get a line position location as a portal, let's get into balance calculations as a portal, e-calculations and intercom. Okay, intercom position locations. Okay, equal to Pluto. Yeah, this is a formula equation line center of the geographical map that he or she will know. So that's position travels. Now, Pluto line rotation surface and security line rotation setting. Okay. So in that direct line centers, you have to understand the coordinates. You have to understand the speed. You have to understand the anomaly. You have to understand the switch. You have to understand the security. You have to understand the panels. You you have to understand the operation, you have to understand the surface, and you have to understand the interdimensional location of space. Okay, to get to that setting. So you understand locations of pi, position locations of balance, and high interference of 3 set locations. Now, the travel communication line direct signals comes into opposition to your geographical map. How you use it through the intercon location is coordinates. Understand how to use the coordinates is all direct locations of light years, right? So this is where you come into the longitude and latitude, right? Longitude, lines of latitude, and line positions of bandwidth. How much bandwidth do I have to go through to get location and setting? So you should do your research and resource lines to your higher self, to your avatar, so you understand the recognition time sequence and position location of its sun, in its moon, in its position of attraction, in its location. Okay, direct signal. Boom, right to Pluto. Okay. So it's amazing when you come into that setting. Yes, exactly, Gypsy. You're starting to see the principle now, Laura. But I'm just showing you what it is, right? Really understand the formula. It has to be in position of a hologram. It has to be created through a hologram. That's the only way your position of Jupiter or anything through Pluto is going to understand you through structure. You have to create it through the sun and the moon, okay? And that creates the light. So in position locations, you're traveling. You turn on the light, you see Pluto, right? Identify line interference position, please. Where are you in track communication line settings? I'm with generalized space-time creator. Proceed, right? So you're proceeding, right? You have to identify your system, or they're just going to send you back home in position. You understand? That's how powerful it is. You have to understand the longitude and the latitude. Your bandwidth over pi, triangulation high settings, the interdimensional location of space, the atmosphere location, the ozone line interference, your direct signal locations to Pluto, why you want to be there in direct signal, what's the importance of being there in the high position location to its calculation. Okay? You need to have a reason. This is getting more real because you're coming to your planets, and your sim has to really understand the solar system of travel. It has to understand the coordinates, how to get there from longitude and latitude. Okay? You're going through pi, you're going through acceleration, you're going through Mach, you're going through space, you're going through dimension, you're going through planes. So it really has to stand the formulas of the equation to create it around line standard location through its hologram. Everything is created through a hologram. Okay? Nothing is left to chance. Anything in that formation location system. So to get anywhere in line interference, you have to get in position location to its structure. Right? You can't go formula, line conditions of box, triangulations of Pluto. Okay, Pluto line interference. Now, if there's nothing traveling calculations, you will not get there. You have to get information. You have to get it equalized. You have to get in a box. You have to get in line equalized. You have to get in planet center location to its location. It all has to travel. Letters, numbers, shapes has to travel. Travel equals dimension. Okay, start with that calculation setting, position location solar sail, dimensional sail, rotation sail, communication sail, high calculation line setting, position location to its planet. Okay? The ruler gives you exact measures, your ruler, you settings. But see, the thing is, Belinda, you got to do it through structure. If you don't do it through structure, you can't go through longitude and latitude. It's not that complicated. Okay, so in position location line center interference. So if you're standing in track communications, right, and you're looking at this line position, okay, you're obviously in scanning 3-line signals. Okay, the reason why it's 3-line signals is because you're directing locations of past, present, and future. So you're looking at the I-line center locations of pi instead of position of center. Okay, that's how the planet sees you. So in that track communication line setting, it overrules and overprograms the set line calculation setting in your gravitational pull. That pull position location of center line opens all communication in your system in line calculation line setting into your sun, into your moon, in locational longitude to your planet location. Okay, there it is. Boom. And that's how you travel to planet locations, to longitude, latitude coordinates. You understand? That's how it works. All right? So in position location, your planet's here. So what does it do? Comes over here, it scans you. Okay, congratulations. You did it. Hooah! Woo! So the sim has to understand to do things through hologram, all through pi. All right? So it's all calculated pi lines, high center interferences, cerebral cortex lines that location of 6/9, paragraph string location settings, and the 24 lines of zeros and 1 line rotation interference is now adaptation to your service, into your brain activity line rotation, to your setting, into your levels of communications of consciousness. Congratulations, team. It's all set up, all through traction. But that's how you get coordinates to your location, to your settings, to your planets. And that's what the sim is coming into. When you go higher in the interdimensional planes, now you start to see more affirmation. But the planets have to see you through pi. What that means is that they've already seen your travel. They've always seen your past, they've always seen your present, they always see your future. So they know exactly where you are in set position, all through travel. Okay? It's complicated. But to truly understand the coordinates of you is truly understand the longitude and latitude, how to get to one position to its location through its space in between. Okay? Isn't that amazing? You all excited? You all excited? Yes, that's exactly what it is. Right. No, right over left, left over right. Right over left, left over right. Not left over right. Right over left, left over right. Okay? That's the only way you're going to see a holographic of anything in set location line setting. That's the only way you're going to see a holographic of yourself in the astral locations. It's got to be right over left, because you're dealing with the right lines of the earth and the left lines of space. And you're dealing with the left lines of space and the right lines of earth. Okay, so it crisscrosses and it creates a hologram. Okay, honeycomb. Well, it's that position of graph line, streams, location, setting, indication, set, location, setting, directions. But you come in that position locations. You come into this, you come into this, all right, or you come into this in pixelation. It's all calculated and modified. Okay, it's all about how to put it all together. Okay. Yeah, right over left, left over right, left over right, right over left. Yes, exactly. And that's how you get to see things. So it's like having those glasses on, 3D glasses, and that's how you project. See, that's how you actually see the planet, and the planet sees you through your pi. See, what it is to have an indication setting and really understands more levels of you, because you are understanding more levels of in set location. And that direct line center interference, when you're looking up, it's looking at you. Okay, and it sees you through pi of what you've already been through your life. That's how powerful planets are. But they see it. So you have to understand what that is, because you have to understand their pi of their planet. Because they're in the same way of communication, sending a high position of track lines, but they're in your timeline. If they're not on a timeline, you're not in position to its existence. You understand that? That's how it works through provision. Okay, these things take time. Okay, especially with your sim, because now he or she is reaching more memory. That's at locations. All right, that's it. Everybody have a great weekend. I'll be back on live line interference. If you have any questions or comments, adios.